welcome back to the Room of Requirement. This is the third video on my grimoire series that I am doing. I'm going to be turning this into a course with all of the grimoires so you can study them all at once in one long list. Okay, so this one is the Lesser Key of Solomon, Explained, Goetia, Angel Spirits, and Solomonic Magic. This one is not going to be as long as the other ones. Please note that the Arbitel and Almedel are part of the Lesser Key of Solomon, so I'm not going to spend as much time going over the Lesser Key. Okay, so if you haven't seen those, go check those out. Those are more in depth. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in here. Okay, so I just want to put this in. I'm putting this little caveat in before all the grimoire videos. So, why study them to begin with? Okay, so grimoires are not merely books of spell, superstition, or forgotten ritual formulas. They are preserved architecture of Western esotericism, maps of the unseen world, records of angelic and planetary intelligences, and manuals for aligning the human soul with higher spiritual order. To study them seriously is to study the discipline of high magic itself, which is purification, invocation, symbolic literacy, divine ascent, and the great work of illumination. Also, it really helps to learn astrology, at least have a basic understanding of astrology, because all of these grimoires contain astrology. And ceremonial magic is based in astrology, so is Kabbalah, any Jewish mysticism, any of this stuff. It's going to be really hard to understand it all if you don't know astrology at all. It's going to be, just way easier if you at least have a basic knowledge, especially with the planets, what the planets mean and what the zodiac signs mean. Okay, anyway. All right, so among all the grimoires of the Western esoteric tradition, few are as famous, feared, and misunderstood as the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Lemegeton. Most people know it because of the Ars Goetia, the section that lists the 72 spirits commonly called demons. But the Lesser Key is much larger than the Goetia. It is a collection of 5 magical books that deal with different classes of spirits, angels, celestial forces, zodiacal powers, and sacred methods of spiritual contact. This is one of the most important things to understand from the beginning, that the Lesser Key is not simply a book of demons. It is a layered grimoire of Solomonic magic. It includes spirit work, angelic magic, aerial spirits, zodiacal intelligences, sacred prayers, divine names, seals, circles, and ritual authority. It preserves an older worldview in which the invisible world was not seen as vague or chaotic, but structured through hierarchy, rank, name, office, and spiritual law. The text is usually understood as a 17th century compilation drawing from earlier sources and traditions. It belongs to the larger Solomonic current of ceremonial magic, where King Solomon is remembered not only as a wise biblical king, but as the archetype of the magician king, the one who possesses wisdom, divine authority, and the command over the hidden forces of creation. The Lesser Key of Solomon is a grimoire, meaning a manual of ceremonial magic. Grimoires often include names of spirits, seals, sigils, divine names, prayers, classifications of spiritual beings, ritual structures, and instructions for contacting invisible intelligences. But a true grimoire is not simply a spell book. It is a map of reality according to the magical worldview that produced it. The Lesser Key is divided into 5 books: the Ars Goetia, the Ars Goetia, the Ars Paulina, the Ars Almedel, and the Ars Notoria. Each book deals with a different level of current of spiritual operation. The Ars Goetia is the most famous and deals with the 72 spirits. The Ars Goetia concerns aerial spirits connected to the directions and regions. The Ars Paulina focuses on angels of the hours and zodiacal degrees. The Ars Almedel deals with celestial angels of the 4 altitudes and the wax tablet called the Almedel. The Ars Notoria concerns prayers, memory, wisdom, eloquence, and sacred knowledge. These five fivefold structures show that the lesser key is not one-dimensional. It moves through lower spirit work, aerial realms, celestial orders, angelic contact, and the illumination of the mind. The name Solomon is central to the entire tradition. In the Bible, Solomon is known for wisdom. In later Jewish, Christian, Islamic, and magical lore, he becomes associated with command over spirits, sacred names, hidden knowledge, and divine authority. This image of Solomon matters because Solomonic magic is not supposed to operate through personal ego. The magician does not command spirits because they are personally powerful. They command through divine names, sacred order, ritual boundaries, and alignment with higher authority. Solomon becomes the model of the magician who does not merely seek power, but order. He represents the disciplined mind capable of understanding the hierarchy of creation. This is why so many grimoires were attributed to him. His name became a symbol of spiritual sovereignty. The first book, the Ars Goetia, in the section most people associate with the lesser key. It contains the 72 spirits, each with a name, rank, seal, appearance, and office. These spirits are described with titles such as kings, dukes, princes, presidents, marquises, counts, and knights. This gives the Goetia the feeling of a spiritual kingdom, with each being occupying a specific role. The second book, the Ars Goetia, deals with aerial spirits. These spirits are connected to directions, regions, and compass points. This section presents the invisible world as something spatial and directional. The magician stands at the center of the spiritual geography, surrounded by unseen forces arranged through the quarters and airs. The third book, the Ars Paulina, concerns angels connected to time and the heavens. It deals with angels of the hours and angels associated with zodiacal degrees. This reveals the astrological side of Solomonic magic. Time is not treated as empty or mechanical. The hours, degrees, and celestial rhythms are understood as spiritually governed. The fourth book, the Ars Almadel, which we already covered separately, is one of the more angelic and celestial sections. It concerns the 4 altitudes and the wax tablet called the Almadel. This book shows the visionary and contemplative side of the lesser key. The fifth book, the Ars Notoria, is very different in tone. It is concerned with prayers, orations, knowledge, memory, understanding, and wisdom. It reminds us that magic was not only used for spirit contact, but also for the refinement of the mind and the pursuit of sacred learning. The Ars Goetia is the most famous and controversial section of the lesser key. It gives the names and seals of 72 spirits, often described as demons, or they're also pronounced daemons, spelled D-A-E-M-O-N-S. You'll also see it like that as well. Each spirit has a rank, an appearance, an office, and meaning, a function or area of influence. So for the serious student, the Goetia should not be reduced to sensationalism. It's not just a list of frightening beings. It is a catalog of forces associated with knowledge, desire, influence, destruction, attraction, deception, memory, language, wealth, conflict, and hidden things. These are powerful currents in both the spiritual world and the human psyche. This is why the Goetia can be understood on multiple levels. Traditionally, it is a system of spirit evocation. Psychologically, it can be read as a map of shadow forces. Esoterically, it can be understood as both, external intelligences and internal powers reflected through symbolic imagination. The Goetia forces the student to confront a difficult truth. What is hidden does not disappear because we refuse to name it. The grimoire names the forces, gives them seals, places them in hierarchy, and surrounds them with boundaries. One of the most recognizable features of the lesser key is the use of seals. Each goetic spirit is associated with a seal or sigil, which functions as a symbolic signature. A seal gives visible form to an invisible intelligence. In ceremonial magic, names and seals are not decorations. A name identifies, a seal focuses, an office defines the function. Together, they bring order to the encounter. Instead of approaching the unseen as a vague unknown, the magician approaches a named force with a specific identity and role. This is part of the deeper structure of the lesser key. The grimoire is not only interested in contact, it is interested in classification. It wants the invisible world mapped, named, ranked, and contained. Two of the most famous symbols associated with Solomonic magic are the circle and the triangle. The circle represents the protected and consecrated space of the magician. It is a boundary of divine order, separating the ritual space from ordinary reality. The triangle represents manifestation. It gives the spirit a defined place to appear. Symbolically, the triangle limits and focuses the presence of the force being called. Together, the circle and triangle express one of the central principles of ceremonial magic. Contact requires containment. The magician does not simply open themselves to whatever may arise. They create structure, boundary, authority, and focus. And this is why protection is so important in the lesser key. Whether one interprets the spirits literally or psychologically, powerful forces require boundaries. And without boundaries, the work can become obsession, confusion, inflation, or spiritual instability. One of the most useful modern ways to understand the Goetia is as a confrontation with the shadow. Okay, so this is real important. The spirits govern areas of life that human beings often fear, desire, repress, or misuse. Power, lust, ambition, wealth, influence, violence, secrets, knowledge, attraction, and deception. This does not mean the Goetia is only psychological. It means that even when read psychologically, it remains powerful. The spirits represent forces that can operate unconsciously if they are not named or contained. In this sense, the Goetia teaches a profound initiatory lesson, that the lower forces must be acknowledged before they can be mastered, and what remains unconscious may rule the soul from beneath. What is named, faced, and placed within proper boundaries can become part of the work of transformation. So angels and demons, they are just two sides of the same coin. Okay, so everyone thinks they're like these external beings, and that can happen, but it's very rare. They're basically intelligences, just like angelic intelligences. They are intelligences of form and creation. Demons are intelligences of action. So they will amplify whatever it is within you. If you are already lustful, if you are already full of greed, the demons will amplify that within you. Okay, so it's amplifying the shadow. Angels amplify the illumination, the form, the creation. And then demons will amplify all the negative attributes that are already there. So I want to make that distinction because it's very important. A lot of people are afraid of this stuff, and it's because of Christian theology. But we need to look at it more as shadow aspects that can amplify the negative aspects that are already within you. So when you see this in a different way, it's going to make more sense. Okay, so working with them is like working with your shadow aspects or doing some form of shadow work. And I'm saying that loosely. I don't mean that like literally. So understanding them in this way makes you kind of look at it from a different perception, and looking at it from the right perception is good. Now, if a lot of people will automatically want to work with the left-hand path first without establishing the right-hand path, working with the angels first to create structure and form, you need that, a strong vessel, so that you can work with the demons or daemons as the shadow aspects, and your vessel is already fully formed when you're working with them. So I hope that kind of makes sense, because a lot of people have this idea of what demons are, and I want to take that Christian theology out of the mix so that you can look at it more esoterically and understand it in a different way. So I hope that helps. Okay. The lesser key is often remembered for the Goetia, but the later books reveal a very different side of the tradition. The Ars Paulina, Ars Almadel, and Ars Notoria shift the focus towards angels, celestial timing, zodiacal forces, sacred prayer, and the illumination of the mind. What I just explained here a minute ago, this is why this book contains both, okay? Because you have to have both. So this is important because it corrects the common misunderstanding that Solomonic magic is only demonic or infernal. The lesser key includes lower spirits, aerial spirits, angelic spirits, celestial altitudes, and devotional prayer. It is full of magical architecture, moving from the shadowy and volatile realms toward more refined forms of knowledge and contact. The Ars Paulina reveals sacred time, the Almadel reveals celestial ascent, and the Notoria reveals the sanctification of knowledge. Together, they show that the grimoire is not only about commanding spirits, it's also about understanding the structure of the heavens and preparing the mind for wisdom. The lesser key raises serious ethical questions, like what does it mean to command a spirit? What gives the magician the right to do so? Is the operator acting through divine authority or through ego? Are they seeking wisdom or only power? These questions matter because the grimoire deals with forces that are intense, symbolic, and potentially destabilizing. So the danger is not only the spirit, the danger is also fascination. Many students become hypnotized by the seals, the names, the ranks, and forbidden atmosphere of the text, and they confuse intensity with attainment and contact with mastery. So the lesser key should not be approached casually. Even as a subject of study, it demands seriousness. It teaches that spiritual work requires discipline, boundaries, discernment, and humility. And without those, ceremonial magic becomes a theater for the ego. For the high magician, the lesser key is not merely a manual of spirits. It is a test of spiritual authority. It asks whether the practitioner can remain ordered while facing disorder. And it asks whether they can engage hidden forces without being ruled by them. It asks whether they can distinguish wisdom from fascination. The Goetia tests the shadow. The Ars Goetia maps the aerial and directional realm. The Paulina aligns magic with sacred time. The Almadel opens the celestial current, and the Notoria turns the mind towards divine knowledge. Together, the 5 books form a symbolic ladder through Solomonic universe. The text begins with the naming and containment of spirits, but it does not end there. It leads towards higher order, angelic intelligence, and the illumination of the mind. The lesser key of Solomon matters because it became one of the defining grimoires of Western ceremonial magic. Its influence can be seen in modern occultism, Golden Dawn material, Goetic practice, demonology, angelic magic, and contemporary esoteric study. But its importance is not historical. It remains powerful because it gives form to one of the oldest human questions. What lies beyond the visible world, and how should we approach it? The lesser key answers with structure. It says that the unseen must be named, bound, classified, and approached under sacred authority. It does not invite reckless curiosity. It demands order. The Lesser Key of Solomon is powerful not simply because it contains mysterious names or ancient seals. It is powerful because it dramatizes the threshold between the known and the unknown. It shows the magician standing within the circle, surrounded by divine names, facing the forces that dwell beyond ordinary perception. The circle, the triangle, the seal, and the name are not merely ritual tools. They are symbols of consciousness, attempting to remain sovereign in the presence of mystery. The spirits of the lesser key may be understood as beings, archetypes, shadows, intelligences, or symbolic powers, but the lesson remains the same. No force should be approached without discipline. At its highest level, the lesser key is not just a book of spirit evocation. It's a book about authority, boundary, and self-mastery. It teaches that before the magician can command anything outside of themselves, they must first learn to command themselves. The grimoire leaves us with a serious reminder that the unseen is not approached safely through curiosity alone. It requires preparation. It requires reverence, discernment, and above all, It requires the wisdom to know that power without order is not mastery, but danger. Okay, you guys, hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to try and make these videos coming up a little bit shorter because it's really hard on me too to sit here for that long and talk. But anyways, thank you guys for sticking around this long. I appreciate each and every one of you. I know I keep saying in my other videos the Pikatrix is coming up. It really is this time. I just wanted to get these ones done first. So, all right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.